would love to hear from you and Michael. If you could give a quick elevator pitch, if somebody was saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about moving to Puerto Rico," just give us a quick pitch. How would you do it? And I'll start with you, Michael. What's a quick pitch to give to someone to move to Puerto Rico?
It's rapidly becoming the most important tech center for blockchain leadership. And the reasons are that, again, as David has stated, it's becoming the Singapore of America, because it's the only place in the world where you can come down, not give up your U.S. passport. And of course, the U.S. taxes you worldwide. If you go to Singapore, you're still going to pay the same taxes as if you lived in Cleveland, other than you'd also pay state taxes. Here, there's a program called Act 60 that allows you to come down here as an investor, pay zero on your capital gains, zero to the IRS, zero to Puerto Rico. So that really helps in compounding your interest as an investor. And then as an entrepreneur, there's the company component where Microsoft is the biggest beneficiary of it. They have all of Microsoft offices for North and South America is all made of a division of Microsoft in Puerto Rico. They make it here, they ship it elsewhere, zero to the IRS, 4% to Puerto Rico. So big or small, there's some giant companies down here, even more moving down here. And of course, you put the two together, you move here personally as a founder, and you start a company that's paying 4% to Puerto Rico and zero to the IRS. And then you're able to go and give profits and distributions and sell your founder shares when eventually you have an exit and pay zero. That's having the effect. I'm looking at what happened to Seattle and what happened to Las Vegas with Tony Hsieh, what happened to Seattle with first Microsoft and then Amazon. It created just legions of millionaires who then went and started new companies. And we're seeing that here now. We already have several top 100 protocols down here. EOS, of course, with Brock Pierce. You've got Horizon with Rob Vigliano moving his whole team down here. You've got what David is doing with Public Company. There's another dozen or so that I'm forgetting that David can mention. And it's really sort of the first wave. I moved here in 2016. I was the first person. By the end of 2017, there were maybe 20 of us. By the end of 2018, there were about 200. And now there's at least 500 or 600 just crypto industry overall, and including traditional investors and entrepreneurs. I think it's around 6,000. And the goal over the entire life of the program was supposed to be 10,000. So we're on track. And the other thing is the amount of revenue that's bringing to the island. David, maybe you're more up to stats on this, but I think James Haft said something along the lines of it's almost 10% of the economy now. Cash flow is coming in from Act 60 companies.
Wow. Yeah, the numbers just from last year, it's probably getting close to 10% now, or 5% last year. It's basically in this doubling effect where, when somebody moves down, right, then they call their partner and say, hey, you got to move down here. And that's what I did, right? I came in March and I called James. It was like, we need to be in Puerto Rico. He's like, all right, cool. I'll be there next week. And then we called our other partner, Tim. He's like, okay, I'll come next week. And I called my parents like, hey, you're ready to retire, right? And so they came the week after that. And so it's like this domino effect. Once somebody gets what's going on here, then they start bringing in all their community. So like, I thought I'd have to do all this travel or I'd need to go other places to see investors. And I was like, I just realized like, no, they're already all here. Like, I don't need to go anywhere for like what we're doing. The founders, the developers, the protocol leaders, like just in my building, I won't like dox the location, but just in this building is like $1 billion hedge fund on the 5th floor. There's a big co-working space full of blockchain stuff on the 6th floor. We took over the 8th floor and the guys from Immutable Holdings are on the 12th floor. Like literally filling up this office building with all the blockchain tech. And that's the pitch. It's like, this industry is going to happen and it's going to happen at a huge scale. And in 2014, New York kicked at everybody with the bit license, right? Who's got 30 million to get a bit license? So even if you do, you got to wait 3 years, right? And so everybody left New York, right? People tried to go to Shanghai. Like that was a big center. People forget like most of the major exchanges were in Shanghai in 2017. And then the Chinese kicked everybody out, right? And the energy flowed to Hong Kong. Guess what happened? Hong Kong's not friendly anymore. And where's FTX moving? They're moving to the Caribbean. They're moving to Bahamas, right? And so crypto is searching for a tech center. And as a US person, this is about the best deal you can possibly get. The big thing that I would say is I thought people were like moving here to hang out on the beach and retire. And that was my perception of like Caribbean islands. And then I came and I realized there were 3 million people on this island. I realized San Juan was 2.5 million, and that's the same size as Austin, Texas. Like, that's big enough to really build a tech center, right? You can't do that on an island with 50,000 people. It's just too small. But Puerto Rico is not that, right? It is 3 million people. It's big enough to have that network effect. And once I was sold on that, I was like, okay, now I can see getting an office, buying a home, building a team here, hiring a bunch of local people. Because usually that's the challenge. Like, an island's too small. It's like you can't get people to stay. Puerto Rico is the opposite. There are 6 million Puerto Ricans on the mainland that would like to live here, but they had to leave for opportunity, right? That's their diaspora. And they'd be happy to come back. All of a sudden, there's this reverse brain drain where the smartest entrepreneurs and people realize, oh, I can get a better deal there than in New York. Like, my last friend who's ethnically Puerto Rican just left New York for Puerto Rico, right? His parents had to move there for opportunity. He's not got an opportunity there. He's got a better deal in Puerto Rico. So that's really cool to see.